Take one.
Here on site, Lupulin Taproom. Thank you so much for having us out here, guys. It's been quite a day already, and it's as I look over at the table and see the samples yet to be poured, it's going to be quite the day yet.
Happy to have you. Thank you for coming out.
All
Appreciate
these beautiful people on in the past, but maybe if you just want a real quick rundown, we'll start with Justin. Just tell everyone like what you do here.
Right on.
And who you are, you know.
Right. My name is Justin Nathy. I'm the quality control manager here at LUPULIN Brewing, as well as helping out with the normal clean barrel aging that we do, and also spearheading a lot of the mixed culture barrel aging stuff that we do as well. Also, your primary contact for anything Smazy related in the building as well too. So that's been largely what I've been involved into, is doing helping, and Marcus has been a huge help with that too, is spearheading the THC line too, which we're very proud of.
Yo, I saw the pretzels. We'll talk about that later.
I'm Tracy, and I manage all of our social media and communications here, and help Marcus with whatever else he needs to get done. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff there.
Lots and lots of stuff.
Marcus Paulson. I'm the marketing and artistic director. Is a really cool title they gave me. I just do all the graphics and marketing. Used to do all the social media. Thankfully, I've helped with that now. Website stuff. But yeah, mostly just draw cool stuff. Try to make this place look cool and make our products look cool.
Well, as you guys can see in the backdrop here, he definitely makes the products look cool.
I do what I can.
Yeah, we'll get probably a little bit more deep into that than some people will be comfortable with, but let's lead off here. I don't know who wants to jump in for you guys, but for anyone that's not familiar or hasn't experienced it themselves, what is Big Beer Week?
A week of epic proportions. It is a week of 8 days with 10% ABV beers or higher released pretty much all day, every day. We have bottle releases. We started bringing in triple IPAs a couple years back. Different beer infusions every day. Food trucks, so you guys can fill your bellies with beer and food. So, it's the week that we get to showcase the barrel program here, because it is an outstanding program and it just doesn't get the recognition it deserves sometimes. So, it's just fun for let these guys shine.
A lot of our big beers that we make like this too, we can only do this once a year, right? Because for the most part, all these beers at minimum take about a year to make. So everything that we serve this week, we're pretty much frantically rebrewing that stuff. Basically, as we speak, in the past couple months, we've been rebrewing it so that we're able to have new fun stuff for Big Beer Week come next year too. So just kind of the nature of the beers, both from a production standpoint as well as a consumption standpoint. Most people can only hang for about a week a year, you know. So yeah, it's a fun time to really showcase that stuff.
Yeah.
Love it. And I mean, why don't you kick us off here then, Justin? What's the first sampler we're all dabbling in here?
So what we've got here, the Barrel God 2023 aged in Russell's Reserve 10-year bourbon barrels. This is a good example of what we like to do with one of our, or I suppose, yeah, it's one of our core imperial barrel-aged stouts that we do. We really like to brew the beer, have one big batch of it, and then age it in a variety of different barrels, and sometimes doing different things with those barrels after they're done, or just sampling those barrels after a year, appreciating the unique nuances just from like we've got a variety of different whiskey providers that we get the barrels from. And so, or whiskey providers that have produced the whiskey that goes into those barrels. And so they taste very different without doing anything to them other than just making the beer, putting it in the barrel, letting it sit, and then coming back to it a year later. So this beer is one of those examples. We just aged it straight up in Russell's Reserve 10-year bourbon barrels. Loved the way it came out. It was different enough from the other stuff that we got, and so packaged it up, and that's what we've got here.
Love it. And just random question that came to me, because you've talked to us a bunch behind the scenes just about how different it can be, even just from like one barrel of the exact same producer to the next. A lot of different flavor profiles. Have you ever like double barreled, like done it in one barrel and then decided, okay, now we're gonna move it over and age it in another barrel?
So I don't think that we have actually done that yet, but it's funny that you ask that, because we are scheduled to do that next week with some of our beers. So we're rebarreling Night Witch.
I saw the sheet in the back.
Yeah. we're Night Witch, one of our other core Imperial Barrel Aged Stouts. We're going to rebarrel that from, it's in like a variety of Heaven Hill and maybe some Woodford barrels, and then it's going to be going into some Elijah Craig. So we will do some double barreling to really punch up that oakiness. And now that for sure is going to be an example of a beer like this, right? Where you're like exploring the barrel and what kind of fun that stuff has to offer.
Man, this is excellent. Excellent.
Very good.
Yeah.
Cheers,
I'm a fan.
guys.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Appreciate it.
I have to say, and I'll admit this to you guys now that we're all here together recording again and just hanging out again. When I came to visit last April, I was hanging over pretty hard when we came to see you guys at Lupulin. And when Aaron brought out the spread, I was like, oh boy, put my big boy pants on and and fought through it. I think that was after the Wild game, if I'm not mistaken. Where I don't remember how we got home that night, but it was a fun night.
That's good.
I
That's,
We were
recall
caught on
you
the
guys
security
saying
camera,
that,
so that was fun. I may have fallen down the stairs. My knee doesn't agree that was fun, but no. But coming here clear-headed today and being able to go through all these and really like just enjoy all the flavor profiles from like head to toe with, like I said, without.
Instead of cringing through them.
There you go. There you go. And honestly, it was because of you guys that I started really falling in love with barrel-aged beers. And when I went back home to Vancouver Island last summer, I introduced like my friends who are really big into whiskey as well into it, and like they fell in love with it as well.
Nice.
The only drawback is you guys and just the state of Minnesota are like 10 years ahead of us back home in British Columbia, Canada, as far as the barrel aging programs. Like they'll have a seasonal one usually around Christmas, and that's about it.
Wow.
If anything else, we're finding them from California. So it's truly amazing what you guys are doing here, honestly.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's something we love to do, and it's really like, I gotta say that Aaron, the head production or head innovation brewer here, and really like the head barrel master of this whole program, like all of these ideas, they all start with him. He's the one who decides what we're gonna brew, what barrels we're gonna put it in. He shops around for that kind of stuff, and it really is kind of like his brainchild, and he does like an incredible job of doing it. I'm happy to be a part of it and kind of saying like, yes sir, sounds good, and doing what I gotta do and helping him out and stuff. But like, if it wasn't for him, these ideas, a lot of it wouldn't exist. This week might not exist. So yeah, he really decided that barrel aging was something that they wanted to be known for here.
Hell yeah.
They started that like really early on. I remember like well before I even started, they're like, we need to make really good barrel aged stouts. Like that's something we got to be known for. So, and they really did a pretty kick-ass job of that. It's funny, I came in a lot like you. I never really cared for barrel-aged stouts or dark beers and stuff like that, and this place turned me, dude. It totally changed my mind.
Yeah, same, actually.
Yeah.
It's less about like not even really like. It's not that I didn't like them. I just didn't know they existed to the array of flavors and just what you guys can do with them. Mm-hmm. And I mean like you guys in particular, but also just like brewers in general. Like I would try one, it was high percent, it just tasted like straight whiskey, and I was like, I'd rather just drink whiskey. But then seeing like what you guys have been able to do, and again, there's some that I tried from like California and stuff that are pretty good, but like I mean, it's a whole other world. So if anyone's like into even just if you're like whiskey and you drink beer, like dabble with Lupulin to start, and you probably will never stray away. To be perfectly honest.
Yeah, these guys
that.
have a knack for hiding big ABVs in beers, and you will not taste it. You'll feel it later on, but
You guys are all about hiding stuff.
See what you did there.
But I mean, to that point, I mean, take a second to kind of pump your own tires, because I know, like, even within the state of Minnesota, which is light years beyond anything that would be happening in Canada, I think they're still like think that the '90s fashion is like what's current.
Shout out denim, let's go.
But in Minnesota, like, tell us, how do you stack up to the other breweries in the state as far as like what you have done with this barrel aging program?
I think one of my favorite things about what these guys do with their barrel aging program is, there are adjuncts that are put into some of these beers, but more often than not, they let that barrel and beer shine for itself. They don't need to like go with a bunch of crazy wacky flavors and stuff. Like, it's fun for me because every single barrel mixed with a different beer gives it this whole new flavor. Like last year was one of my favorites when they did the Scotch aged barrel age. Or barrel guide in the Scotch barrels. It had like this super cool, like almost like smoky note
That's
to
one of the
it.
ones you guys sent
Like,
down to me for the preview.
Yeah, you know, like
That was
it's just so cool to see how different barrels can change a beer, and you don't need any kind of adjuncts, and you'll still pick up on flavors of like vanilla and chocolate and caramel. And so like that's something that I think these guys have done a really, really good job of, is like playing with some fun adjuncts once in a while, but also really letting the beer in the barrel shine. So.
Yeah, I think I've had a lot of really good barrel-aged beer from a lot of different breweries in the area, all throughout Minnesota, a lot of stuff, and I don't get out enough being from St. Cloud, right? So it's hard for me to ever find that stuff for me to really try a bunch of from all of our different friendly breweries that we have in the area and stuff, but fortunately, coworkers, you guys bring it in a lot and stuff, and, I've always been impressed with everything we've had. I love, had some really good stuff from Back Channel. I absolutely love some of their stuff that they've done. And Modest, all those guys, and it's hard to say, it's hard to say how you kind of stack up. We feel like we hope that people like it, you know what I mean? And we have respect for the other barrel-aged beers that people make and the programs that they have and stuff. And people just kind of take, like kind of to your point, they take different directions, right?
Yeah.
They sometimes there's people who dominate the like adjunct, super crazy, huge, big, wild stout game that and they do it better than I think that we would, or that we do when we've done some stuff like that. And that's just, just being honest kind of thing. You know what I mean? We kind of have our lane, what we like to do, like to your point, and we like that. And we love when other people do other stuff that is super fun and cool like that too. And we like to dabble, and we'd love to learn from them too, most importantly that actually.
I think that's like the coolest part about just the beer industry in general is like there's no like stay in your own lane. It's like you like to it's fun to like bring in other people's beers and learn from it and like experiment. But like everybody knows that like there's some things and it's like, wow, that is so damn good. Like you can make stuff, but like you'll still go back thinking like, oh, that one from that one brewery, that was so freaking good. And like you'll think of how you can try and imitate that, but like it's not really a competition in my eyes. It's just a like.
Some people are really good at some stuff.
Yeah.
You don't know why.
And I mean, it wasn't even from the frame either of necessarily like, oh, ours tastes so much better. But spacing, because we've done a ton of stuff here today, but someone mentioned to me, like, I don't know if it's top 5 or maybe even top 3 as far as like the extent to which you guys have built up that barrel program, like sheer volume and how much you've dedicated to it. Like you said, that was a key focus. Like, there's not really that many other breweries that are committed on the same level.
Right. See what you mean. Yeah, absolutely. Funny thing, being out here in Big Lake, we're blessed with space because we're cursed by our location of being kind of out here, right? A lot of those big players, they would love to have more barrels, but like when we've gone and like talked to those guys and like toured the brewery and stuff, they're like, they'll have like a couple barrels and like, where do I put them? It's like, so we have a lot of space, and I think that that's one of the biggest things that's tough for people is just where do you put it all? It occupies a ton of room back there, and so I don't think there's not a ton of places that really do just have the opportunity to. I think a lot of people, they have maybe the desire, the interest and stuff, and maybe the hopes and dreams too, but just haven't been able to kind of like take a moment and really develop that kind of program of theirs.
Very fair. I don't know, maybe this is a good chance, Justin, for you to queue up whatever's next. Tracy, maybe you want to dive in a little bit to just what people can expect, whether they've been here before and there might be some tweaks this year, or someone that's coming for the first time. Like, they show up here, what's going on?
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be kick ass. If you've been here in the past couple of years, we did the reservation system, so you could kind of have a reserved seat. If you've been here back in like 2019 and behind that, we're going back to that way, and it is going to be a first come, first serve basis. I love this because it is such a fun time. Like, we've met so many great people here during that week just because you sit down and you're like, is that seat taken? And you grab a seat and you start talking and you're comparing the beers you're drinking. It's just kind of one big gathering of everybody that just loves these kinds of beers or is learning about these kinds of beers and having good conversation, having really good beers, and whatever else comes with it.
Our space is finished this year,
Yeah.
which is exciting.
Yep.
It was all white walls last couple of years.
I was gonna say when I came here in April, it was drywall, and now I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, it like this space could just be like a brewery tap room in itself. It's an addition to your guys' tap room and just whole facility. It's truly incredible what you guys do. You definitely said like you're blessed with the space for sure.
Yeah. So
And
we're
besides like the
excited to share
nice
that.
textures and paint on the walls,
Totally.
we've got some different seating out in the original tap room. There's some larger seating, more community style, so it should be more opportunity for strangers to meet, like you were talking about.
Like on the everyday basis. I remember when we first brought those in and people were like, oh, what is that? Like, I have to talk to strangers. And now it's so fun because people just start grabbing seats and talking, playing cribbage or playing the games out there. And like, it's just a fun sense of community that I think we brought back into here. And I'm really
yeah.
excited to watch that all unfold during Big Beer Week.
Well, and tell anyone that's not aware, because it's a pretty recent renovation, like where we're sitting right now, like how did this all come together?
Yeah, welcome to the Stave. This is our new event space. Marcus had a lot to do with this.
We met a lot.
Yeah.
We hired an interior designer this time, which I feel was a really good idea instead of a bunch of dudes trying to make decisions on decorating space. We had a lot of input. We met once a week for months and months. But a lot of decisions were made by this smarter person who does that for a living, which is helpful. I was given some pretty sweet mural space, which I feel like elevates the room a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Nice little pop of color. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff we wanted to do for a long time, and just budgetary and time reasons can't do everything all at once.
Yeah, it'll be nice to have. We'll have the bar open on this side as well, so some of the beers will be available on both sides each day, which will hopefully help with some of the like waiting in line and stuff, and a little easier accommodations for people.
I think the infusion will be on both sides, potentially.
So yeah, I don't remember where we landed on that.
Yeah,
yet.
maybe not.
We're still
Don't quote
hashing
me on
out all
that.
the details for each day, but
I mean, it's crazy because like Isha was saying it about the majority of breweries back home. I can even say it to several here. Like this event space right here is bigger than a lot of tap rooms in general. And you guys already had a pretty well-sized tap room. Like it's just so much more space. So many more people can come in here, especially for Big Beer Week. But I mean, the layout here is awesome. I already see we've got the projector screen ready to go for hockey.
heck yeah, man.
Nothing else you need.
Pretty dope.
Yeah, it's fun. We started hosting private parties here this past summer, and it's been fun watching people make the space their own for what they need it to be.
I
And
think we've got a couple weddings booked.
yeah,
Have to ask Danielle for sure. But
yeah, we've
we're
had
working on
some
it.
wedding receptions in here, so
We're kind of the premier event space in Big Lake now. The Carousel Works closed a
Yeah.
while ago. Yeah,
yeah. So.
trying new stuff all the time.
All right, Justin, what are we getting into now with this second sample?
We actually have the perfect segue from the last sample. It's exactly what we just talked about. It's the same exact beer, just in a different barrel. These are in 1792 barrels.
This is why you save some, Isha.
Ah, you're
Look
smarter
at
than all of
you
us.
guys. Look at that.
You're smarter than all of us,
The real
dude.
reason to save a little is after we get through all of them, make a super cute bag. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's kind of weird.
What did we call that as kids? Like kamikaze, suicide, something like
Suicide,
that.
yeah.
the
Everything on the
suicide.
pop
Garbage
machine.
drink, yeah.
Yeah.
Godfather's special.
Yeah, so this is Barrel God 23. Just put into different barrels, a little different. I mean, came out quite different enough where I mean we tasted through it. Yeah, it's pretty different. So yeah, it's nice that we're doing these like back to back on the days like that too. So it gives people kind of maybe more of an incentive to do that little bit of a side by side for themselves too.
And I mean, for someone more sophisticated, you know, you've got a little bit better handle on the differences. Like, what would you say stands out the most between the two from barrel to barrel?
Be a lot easier if I was smart like you
Yeah,
and save
same.
something to try a
I was
bit.
just thinking, I
Ooh,
was like,
actually,
oh,
you know
crap.
what? You know what? It's actually. Remember how I accidentally poured the all those extra ones?
I feel like
Math is hard, people. Math
I feel
is
like the
hard.
1792 is a little sweeter. Not a ton. It's not sweet, but it's like sweeter. I get a little more dry kind of a note from the Russells.
Yeah, this one to me is a lot like, just like cleaner. Like it doesn't like.
Almost a nuttiness.
pack
to it.
that punch as much. Where the other one, it's not that it's like aggressive or it's gonna like
Yeah, yeah.
smack your flavor palette, but it's just like this one's a lot cleaner. Like if I brought my wife and I had to make her try one because she can't hang with the big beers, but this is the one that I would probably give to her rather than the first one.
I'd say probably this
Yeah.
next one, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
That too.
I feel like, and it's, I appreciate your perception of my palate, because my perception of my palate, like I'm like, this one tastes a little bit less smooth than the other one. Like I very like my sometimes my flavor descriptors are like, this one's more sharp or less sharp, or like it's a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but this is what I taste, whatever that might be.
Right.
And I just feel like varying levels kind of sharpness, smoothness, of like mouthfeel. Sometimes they like coat your tongue. Sometimes it feel like it kind of is like not like dances on your tongue, like it's higher carbonated, but it just feels a little bit more sharp.
And like whether it lingers a little bit more
Yeah,
too. Like
yeah.
this
Yep.
one, it's down the hatch, it tastes good, and then it's gone.
It's
That's very
interesting.
It has a
palatable.
little bit more like staying power almost.
Yeah.
It's interesting you call it sharper, because I don't know where this word comes from, but I feel like this tastes rounder.
Yeah.
I don't know what I mean by that, but
Yeah.
like
Right.
that's what I taste.
Maybe like
I'm getting rhombus.
It's
Yeah.
it's like the more sessionable of the barrel aged beers,
yeah.
which we've used very loosely with barrel aged beers, obviously. But
I can't wait for all the descriptive words like we come up with when we're like through all of them. We're on the last bottle. We're like, all right, so
this one is good.
This one's
very good.
compared to the last date, it's similar, kind of.
Well, now we're going to kick it over for Marcus to steal the show a little bit here.
Sure.
We couldn't even, we're talking off camera about what we even call this. We're going to go with the Big Beer Week logo
Sure.
of the year.
Logo, theme,
Theme of sorts.
art, what have you.
But talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess last year was the first year we did this program we're kind of running again this year. But we're having a triple IPA released in cans in our local market and during Big Beer Week. The art on that can is also kind of the art for the week. So it'll be on the T-shirts. We'll be selling limited edition blankets again. We're going to sell posters this year. We'll have stickers. And it'll all have this new art. So the beer this year is called Beverage Machine, and our theme is kind of loosely sci-fi. So it is a triple sci-fi PA, so we decided to call it.
God damn it. I love
But yeah, so as with previous years, there's always kind of a skull involved. Last year was an octopus, but it was kind of a skull octopus. This year it's kind of a robot skull that happens to make beverages because it's a beverage machine. But yeah, it's in progress. I'll show you that much. That's all you get.
That's what he's working on, by the way, folks.
Yeah.
He's not just sitting here like, working away live on a podcast. There's deadlines to meet. Okay?
it. Up on personal emails.
Yeah, you can freeze that and zoom in and clip it and throw it out for people to see for a long
Don't give
time.
anybody any ideas.
It may or may not be drastically different from what's on my screen.
Right.
But
we
print
actually
ready.
scrapped the whole skull idea.
Print ready files got to go to the printer for T-shirts by Friday. So kind of in the 11th hour right now.
It is Wednesday afternoon for those keeping score.
But all the bottle labels are done. That's
Yeah.
kind of ahead of schedule for me this year. So that's pretty cool.
So-
Progress.
And so, and I guess in speaking to kind of what the beer is too, is funny enough, it's somewhat similar to what we're doing today with you guys because we're using the same yeast, and it's a unique yeast that we've been incorporating into some of our beers more recently, and it's actually very similar, if not, you could call it quite genetically identical, but it's the same parent strain of yeast as our house yeast. So what we make our Hui with, Blissful, Fashion Malt, all that stuff that we make our normal beer with. The yeast lab we get it from just went in there and edited the genome a little bit, did a little bit of snippy and soy, and made it so it boosts a bunch of thiol compounds in the beer. And so what thiols are is they're primarily sulfur compounds. It's a variety of sulfur compounds that they're associated with being aromatic, is a way to say it. Some people might say that they stink more because they just have a very pungent and intense aroma. And the way to say it without saying that it stinks more is that it's just like really, really stinky tropical fruit, like a deep citrusy, nice kind of fruit flavor like that. But it's like some fruits kind of have like a heft to their odor a little bit.
Pungent,
Yeah,
yeah.
pungency. And so it's been super fun to use. We've just loved every beer that we put it in, and that's why I wanted to use it with you guys too. And so we're putting some fun hops in there. It's Lotus, Nectaron, and then Citra Cryo. So Citra Cryo is a key player in making some good beer usually, and then some of the other ones are other hops that Lotus we played around with before, but Nectaron's kind of a newer one too. So it's going to be a big beer, big, hoppy, hazy, juicy, and stinky in the right way.
Stinky in the right way. I like that. That's a good promo.
Yeah.
Before we jump into the next beer that Justin had tapped for us, Marcus, I'm just curious, like, is this your project? Like, that logo, is that like purely your decision? Is it something that's like think tanked out and then you find a way to make it cool and crazy? Or like, do you just sit down and it's all you?
Yeah, so something that I'm just starting to get used to 4 years into being full-time here is 100% creative control. I just kind of do whatever the fuck I want. So it's kind of cool. Not always. There's definitely input from other people. But yes, this project specifically, it's really up to me.
Love it.
Which is, fun and terrifying at the same time.
Well, everyone get out here to check it out. Again, you've already seen the octopus many a time. This one, just seeing the initial sketches, going to be incredible. And
I think it's going to be kind of dope.
Marcus likes to joke that it's always a competition with last year, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
So now you got to already start pre-planning how you beat this year.
Yeah, the anxiety's already there.
Well, just take a sip and that helps. Justin, what do we got?
Sorry, not until April. You got to get through Big Beer Week. You got to get through March, and then you can start stressing about next year.
Sure.
So
What to do?
want to take this opportunity to invite the man, the man of the hour, the brains behind the beer. He's in the background, but he's got to run off because we're finishing up the brew that we're doing right here.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. So it's pumpkin spice demigod. So this is a bit of a departure from what we kind of what we were speaking about with the beers we've tried so far, right? We did Barrel God in 2 different kind of barrels before this, so that's like exploring the nuances of the barrel. And now this is enjoying the nuances of the barrel, but also punching it up with some fun stuff that we think could be good. And also because some of these were aged in pumpkin whiskey barrels, I believe.
Yeah.
And it actually was
whiskey.
Right. And so it actually and I will say, when we tried the beer from the pumpkin whiskey barrel, it did have a nice kind of pumpkin-y flavor to it. It wasn't like you just put it in, pull it out, it's like, oh, whatever, got to shove a bunch of pumpkin flavor and all that kind of stuff into it to make it taste this way. It did come out with some flavor, which was super fun, and that's kind of the inspiration behind it too, right? Still being inspired by the barrel, but taking it to the next level with putting a bunch of stuff into.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's actually kind of a short paragraph on our cheat sheet here. I'll read off because I'm kind of blown away by this one. So it's a barrel-aged blend of imperial stouts and imperial brown ales. So it's Barrel Gods and Whiskey Nuts, I believe, aged in 1 pumpkin whiskey barrel, 1 cinnamon whiskey barrel, 1 Woodford double oaked bourbon barrel, and 1 Russell's Reserve 10-year bourbon barrel. And it was conditioned on Madagascar vanilla beans, cinnamon, cloves, ginger, and allspice.
That's nice. It helps me
A lot
remember the
going
things I
on.
forget.
He forgot he had the cheat sheet. Too.
Well, those are like the best days when he just starts pulling nails out of barrels and then he starts blending things together. It's like nobody understands how he does that, but like he'll
It's
just
magical.
like bring you things and you taste them. And you're like, wow, that's delicious. How'd you do
It
that?
sounds like so many things, but it all comes together into this perfectly balanced candy bar and glass, and it's just wonderful.
I mean, yeah, I'm just getting like. To me, this is a gingerbread man with a little extra cinnamon to it, almost.
Because also, that's funny because that's actually what this fails to mention as well is the adjuncts that we added to it.
Yeah.
Because we
I
actually.
actually pulled up a picture of the bottle label.
Oh,
It does
nice.
have it on there. That was one of my corrections. I need to make sure old cheat sheet.
Oh,
here.
sure. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Info for some of these.
yeah.
it's real grated ginger.
Pumpkin spice. So all the we'll say Ugg boots and vest gals out there doing their best Han Solo impression, sprint. Get down here as fast as you can, because these will run out because Starbucks is promoting all of it. So
There is
run,
a very small amount of graded Ugg boot in the beer.
God damn it. Oh, please tell me you hid them in the label somewhere.
I should have.
Have you guys seen that though? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
There's people that post
yeah.
the meme where it's like all the girls wearing their vest and their Ugg
Oh,
boots
the
and
Han
stuff.
Solo, yeah.
And it's like, oh, Han Solo season's upon us.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Holy crap. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually good too, and I appreciate it
delicious.
because I might not order something like that at Starbucks or Caribou, but damn, I
Same.
actually will drink that. I
Yeah.
like it quite a bit, and that's I hope that we are in the right area between appealing to those people who don't want something that's way excessively over the top, and then those people who do want something that is tastes like what you're saying it tastes like, right? And I hope we make all of those people happy. You never will,
Yeah.
but a vast majority, hopefully.
Fair.
Yeah.
We'll get our next one
There's some kick-ass spices that come out in this beer, so that's fun. It's got a very fall vibe to it. So
Now, while he starts working on and pouring the next one, I mean, Marcus, I'm going to interrupt you again.
You're good.
I know you're deep into that, but
All good.
You talked about your creative freedom, your autonomy here within.
I think I know where you're going
within the
with
walls of the space. I definitely was inspired when I heard about one of your favorite pastimes, especially since my senior year of high school, and I went and saw the movie Superbad. And
yeah.
you see
Oh,
the
yeah.
Rolling credits at the end.
I identified heavily with those rolling in credits. I've drawn a lot of dicks in my day.
So
Big,
talk
glorious,
to us. I mean,
veiny
drawing penises,
ones.
where did this inspiration come from?
Boy. Okay, honestly, it first started at my previous job. I doubt any of those people will listen to this, but it'd be amazing if they did. I worked for a very conservative right-wing man who ran a very successful multi-million-dollar company, but had some very specific ideas that rubbed me the wrong way. And my little way of getting back at him, even though it was a good job, was hiding dicks and stuff. There's different pack. I won't name anything in particular, but there's products being sold at Cabela's where if you look really close at the label, there's little dicks in trees. There's some billboards and there were some banners in parades.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's great.
It's a good time. For some reason, the rumor has spread a lot around here that I hide them in every single can. It's actually not true. I've hidden to date 2 dicks and 2 vaginas.
Tell us about how the vaginas came to be on cans.
Well,
It's an interesting story.
Abby Ziert, daughter of Jeff Ziert, co-founder of LUPULIN Brewing, was also HR. And she said that it was sexist that I only hid dicks. And so just for her, if you look at the top of the hop cone on a can of CPB, there's a glorious vagina. And on the Imperial CPB can, there's a tattooed vagina.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, the first dick was on Coffee Shop Assault Vehicle, right behind you.
Yes,
It is large and in charge on this mural.
that is right. That was my first hearing of the dick fascination, which I got to ask then, are we at a place now where Lupulin has developed their own form of Title IX, where if you add another dick to a can, we're adding another vagina to a can?
It just kind of happened to balance itself. Yeah, kind of funny story. So when I first started working for these guys, it was all part-time. I used to do freelance work. And when I designed the can for Apricot Blonde, I sent them the graphic, and I got an email back the next day, and all it said was, "We see the dicks." So it's actually
Isha's cackling off mic right now.
it's in the window over there. You can't see it on camera, but there's that apricot near the top of the hop cone that kind of looks like a penis head, kind of sprouting out of the top. Not intentional. It's supposed to be an apricot. I replied back, "You see what you want to see." But I was kind of freaking out. I hadn't done a lot of freelance. I didn't know these guys really well. I had a meeting with them that evening, and so I came prepared with how I was going to fix the art to make them not look like dicks anymore, because we had to go to print in a day or two. And they stopped me as I was explaining what I could do. Like, no, we love it. We want to keep it. So that's how I knew I found the right place.
All right, well, business proposal for you to really exercise your demons. I already ran this by Tracy, but imagine having a book that patrons of the Taproom can enjoy while they're drinking their beers. Instead of Where is Waldo?
Where's Dicko?
Where is Dildo?
Where's the dildo?
I think you could do some great work with that. My wife's in publishing. We can make it happen.
That is kind of fun. I'm not against that idea.
You'll probably think about that way more than you should after hours.
I did read a lot of Where's Waldo. Growing up.
God damn.
It's always like your distraction. Like you're really hard at work on something, and then all of a sudden, like it's zoomed out, and there's like a dick drawn somewhere on like a label or a poster or something he's working on. And I'm like, where did that come from?
I definitely draw a lot of dicks that don't make it to final print.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a nervous tick or something. Yeah. I sign all my receipts with squiggly dick drawings.
I think we need to not necessarily promote it in this way, but for those that are in the know, it could be a lot of fun. Essentially have Dick Day here, where all the food trucks are
Dick Day.
The foods which foods look like dicks? The best kind: popsicles, hot dogs, corn dogs.
That's so much.
Oh, all right, we can move past that one.